Good morning students. Today we'll discuss about serial communication protocol. So let's see MSSP. It is a master synchronous serial port. So in today's lecture we'll just discuss the following points, that is the basics of MSSP, master slave connections in SPI mode, MSSP in SPI mode, status register in SPI mode and control register in SPI mode. So now let's discuss about MSSP, that is a master synchronous serial port. So it is a serial interface which is useful for communicating with other peripheral or microcontroller devices. So these peripheral devices may be EEPROM, shift register, display driver, A to D converters. So MSSP module can operate in two modes. One is the SPI mode and I2C mode. So SPI mode is a serial peripheral interface mode and another one is the inter-integrated circuit. So both this protocol share the same signals but cannot be active at the same time. So it uses the important pins which are your serial data clock, which is denoted as SCK, serial data in, that is a SDI, serial data out, that is a SD0. So now let's see the master slave connection in the SPI mode. So here you can see the master and slave, which contains the shift register and the serial input buffer register. So your SPI mode, it operates either in a master mode or in a slave mode. So when it operates in a master mode, master can initiate the data transfer at any time because it controls the S clock. Master determines when the slave is to be broadcast data by the software protocol. So in master mode, data is transmitted and received as soon as the SBUF register is written. So here you can see these three important pins, that is a SCK, SDI and SDO. So if SPI is only going to receive, SDO output could be disabled. SSPSR register will continue to shift in the signal present on SDI pin at a programmed clock rate. So as each byte is received, it will be loaded into your buffer register and this will be useful in receiver applications as a line activity monitor. So this is steps it will follow when it operates in a master mode and now when it operates in a slave mode. So in slave mode, data is transmitted and received as external clock pulse appear on your S clock. When last bit is latched, SSPIF interrupt flag bit is set. So it operates either in a slave mode or in a sleep mode. So when it is in a slave mode, external clock is supplied by the external clock source on the S clock pin. This external clock must meet the minimum high and low times as specified in electrical specifications. Now, when it operates in a sleep mode, slave can receive the data. So when a byte is received, the device will wake up from the sleep. So as we discussed, these three pins are important. Like this, there is one more pin is very important, which is called as your SS pin. It is a slave select pin. So it allows the synchronous slave mode. So SPI must be in a slave mode with SS pin control enabled. So when the SSP pin is low, transmission and reception are enabled and SD0 pin is driven. So MSSP module in SPI mode, so it allows the 8 bits of data to be synchronously transmitted and received simultaneously, and to accomplish this operation it requires these three pins which are already been discussed, and additional one more pin is required, that is the SS pin, which is called as the slave select pin. So student, just take a few seconds and just think on how many registers are there in MSSP module for the SPI mode. Now SPI mode registers, so there are the 4 registers for the SPI mode operation. One is the status register, another one is serial receive transmit buffer, then the control register 1 and the shift register, which is called as your SSPSR. Yes, so now when MSSP operates in a SPI mode, so this is the structure for the SPI mode. So when initializing the SPI mode, several operations need to be specified, and this is done by programming the appropriate control bits. So these control bits allow the many specified function modes. So one is the master mode, slave mode, clock polarity, data input sample phase, clock age, clock rate, slave select mode, like this. So this MSSP consists of transmit and receive shift register, and also it contains the buffer register. The SSPSR shifts the data in and out of the device. So always it will just in and out the data MSB first. So SSP buff holds the data that was written to SSPSR until the received data is ready. So once the 8 bits of data have been received, that byte is moved to SSP buff register. So then the buffer full detect bit and the interrupt flag bit are set. Yes, so now we'll again discuss these two registers which are important. So SSPSR is the shift register which is used for shifting the data in or out. Like your SSP buff is a buffer register to which data bytes are written and read from. So in the receive operation, SSPSR register and SSP buff register create a double buffered receiver. So when SSPSR register receives a complete byte, it is transferred to the buffer register and your flag bit will get set to 1. So during transmission, SSP buff register is not double buffered. A write to SSP buff register will write to both the SSP buff register and SSPSR register. So student, please take few seconds and just think on what is the role of status register in the SPI mode. Yes, so now this is a status register which is a 8-bit register. So out of this, bit number 7 and 6 are your readable and writable, while bit 0 to 5 are read-only bits. So bit number 7 is the sample bit. When it operates in a master mode, either this bit is 1 or 0. It will allow the input data sample at the end of data output time or at the middle of data output time. Like this, there is a bit number 6 which is your CKE bit. So by using this, you can select the clock age. So when this bit is 1 or 0, you can select the transition from active to idle clock state or from idle to active clock state. Now bit number 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. These bits are used only for the I2C mode. Okay, so when we are going to discuss the I2C mode, that time again we will discuss these bits, what is exactly role of these bits. Now let's see the bit 0, which is the buffer full status bit. So it will indicates whether your SSP buff is full or it is empty. So when it is 1, your reception is complete and SSP buff is full, and when it is 0, receive not complete and SSP buff is empty. Now these are the few things you have to remember for your status register. So already we discussed this one. Only bit 7, 6 are related to your SPI configuration. Bit 7 is allow the user to select input data sample time. Bit 6 is used together with your CKP bit of your control register, which allows the user to select the clock age of data shifting. Bit 0 is a flag bit that will be set to 1 when an SPI transfer is complete. Now this control register allows the user to enable and disable the SPI module. So now let's see. These are the control, this is the control register which contains the 8 bits again. So bit number 7, it is your WCOL, that is a write collision detect bit. So the SSP buff register is written while it is still transmitting the previous word. And when it is 0, there is no collision. Now bit number 6, it is a SSP OV, that is a receive overall indicator bit. So SPI is the slave mode. Okay, and when it is 1 means there is overflow, when it is 0 there is no overflow. So when it is 1, a new byte is received while the SSP buff register is still holding the previous data. So in case of your overflow, data in the SSPSR is lost. Okay, so now bit number 5 is related to your master synchronous serial port enable bit, that is SSPEN. So now whether this is 1 or 0, according to that you can enable and disable the serial port, and you can configure the important pins, that is SCK, SDO, SDI and SSP. Now bit number 4 is your clock polarity select bit. So when it is 1, ideal state for clock is high level, and 0, that is for ideal state for clock is low level. Now there are the last 4 bits, that is bit 0 to 3. These are used for a master synchronous serial port mode select bit. So by using these 4 bits you can select this either slave mode or your master mode, or also you can select the clock signal as your escape pin or your timer 2, or you can select the another frequency. Also you can disable the SS bit or you can enable that SS bit. So hope you understood this control register. So these are the few points remember regarding the status register and control register. So the user may attempt to write another byte into SSP buffer register before the current byte has been shifted out. This situation is called as a write collision error. So SPI is double buffered during a reception. One byte can be held in the SSP buffer register when a byte is shifted in the SSPSR register. So if your CPU is too busy to fetch the byte in the SSP buffer register and the second byte is shifted in, SPI reception overflow error occurs. It is flag bit 6 of your control register. So user can choose from 4 possible data rates in the SPI master mode by programming the lower 4 bits. So student, please wait for few seconds and just think on which modes can be allowed by using control bits. So these are the different modes you can set by using the control bits. So when it initializing the SPI module, by using the control bits you can set the different mode, that is your master mode, slave mode, clock polarity, data input sample phase, clock age, clock rate, slave, select mode. Yes. So now we'll again discuss the SPI operation. Already we discussed this one. This is your one master and slave. There are the 4 important pins required. So to send data from the master device writes a byte into the SSP buffer register, and this byte will be also written into the SSPSR register. So 8 clock pulses are required, and which will be swap the contents of the master and slave SSPSR register. So at the end of the data shift operation, the flag bit will just get set from the PIR register and BF flag of your SSP status register will be set. So again, to read the data, master device will perform the same operation, and that is write a byte into your SSBF register. Okay, so this is the SPI operation. So now this is the configuration of MSSP for your SPI mode. So master is responsible for transmitting, for controlling the clock. So S clock, it can be start the data transfer at any moment. So once the data is written to SS buffer register, the master device starts transmitting and the receiving data. So you can set the data rate by programming the lowest 4 bits of your SSPCon register, and the highest data rate for the 40 MHz crystal is 10 Mbps. Also you can just select the clock age. This is done by CKE bit of your status register. So the actual clock selection is done by combining CKE and CKP signal. So this gives us the 4 clock modes. Hope students you understood this concept, that is your MSSP in SPI mode. So in the next video we will just discuss MSSP in I2C mode. Thank you.